Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Daniel Ramsey of MyOutDesk. Daniel, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Gosh, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on as well, too. You're doing so many phenomenal things. And what I wanted to do is just read a little bit more about Daniel so you can hear about some of those phenomenal things that he's doing. And
Sure.
Daniel is the founder and CEO of MyOutDesk, the highest rated virtual assistant company in the marketplace with over 500 five-star reviews and over 13 years of experience serving more than 6,000 clients. Daniel founded MyOutDesk during the first global financial crisis of 2008 to help businesses leverage the remote workplace and scale businesses with virtual assistants. In 13 years with MyOutDesk, Daniel has helped thousands of clients scale their business and grow to profitability. He has worked with some of the largest companies and some of the fastest growing industries. And Daniel has had the opportunity to work with many of the largest sales organizations, technology startups, insurance, real estate, and healthcare companies. And he's willing to share these lessons with all of us. Daniel, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I'm so excited, man.
I'm excited too, and I love that you've contributed on the site before, and I wanted to hear. I know I touched on a little bit how you got started. Could you take us through what I call your CEO story? We'll let you get started.
I love it. It's a simple story, and I know you're gonna relate because this is the normal entrepreneur CEO story. I literally was in Guatemala on my honeymoon. So I'm in a Francis Ford Coppola resort. Okay, so that's jungle, monkeys swinging around, this huge lake in front of us. My wife of 3 days, we just trekked through the rainforest and saw the ruins and just had a wonderful time. We have dinner, go back to the room, and then I snuck out of our bungalow at 1 a.m. to do work. And I'm at the bar because it's the only place with Wi-Fi. I'm at the bar, and the bartender, who's gotten to know us because we've been there a couple days now, starts making fun of me. He takes my cell phone, snaps a photo, and says, "Stupid white boy," like beautiful bride back in the room. What are these dumb Americans doing? Like, and this is the story, man. And our company was founded to help entrepreneurs and CEOs buy back some of their time. With time, we can do anything, man. I mean, anything is possible with more time. And so literally, in that moment when the guy's making fun of me in Spanish, I'm hanging my head and I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to have my business own me. I want to stay married, have kids, I want to have a life. And so came back to the US, really focused on, what it would take to scale and grow the business so that I wouldn't have to be in production in the day to day. And now we teach entrepreneurs how to do that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I'm sure that you probably weren't the only person that was at that Guatemalan bar that was doing the exact same thing, which is why he was like you, like so many other people, have to really understand how important time is. And even on a deeper level, what we can do with that time and how we hope to envision our life and our businesses and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, it was so much pain, personally, because I'd grown up. I was one of those strange kids, in like 6th, 7th grade. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to own my own business. But I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know it meant weekends, evenings, no vacation time, employee challenges, systems and tech and like who's on the team. How do I delegate? Like there's just so much. I mean, one of my favorite stats is the US, we have 28 million businesses, yet 96% of them are under $1 million. The vast majority of businesses are small, mom and pop, not a lot of employees, not a lot of revenue. And what's even wilder is the IRS says that 60% of those businesses don't actually report income. So that's a big deal. Most businesses are small. Most businesses never cross that $1 million mark. And the IRS says most don't make money. And so this fight of being an entrepreneur and being a CEO and you need a tribe. You need people like you helping others get drawn up. I know I got help. And so we're here to help everybody that we can find leverage, hire virtual professionals, and really help scale and grow their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the beauty of it is I think so many people may not realize it's an option or think that it's not for them. But I love, everything that you do, because not only are you obviously helping, people be able to do that, but you're also providing the tools in order to make that happen so that people can, make sure that they're spending the time, the most valuable asset, exactly how they want. So I know you touched on it a little bit. Could you take us through a lot of what you have and what you're doing with your company and how you're serving these clients that you're working with?
Yeah, it's cool because, whether you're an insurance person, and we have a boat broker in Florida, like he sells like 5, 10, 30, $100 million boats. The reality is business is pretty much similar. Everybody's like, oh, I've got a special baby. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have a special baby. Most of business is just blocking and tackling. And so in most industries, you have sales, you have marketing, you have operations like administrative work, and then you have service and support. So those are the kind of 4 areas that we really help people grow and get leverage in their business. And the wildness is, as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I learned early on was, there are only certain things that we have to do. Like talking with you and relating and talking about being a CEO, I can't have one of my employees do that. They're not the CEO. They don't know. This is one of those things that, like, literally I need to do. I need to hang out with you and be buds and get on your podcast. But, talking to a customer, servicing an account, doing our financials, writing a blog post, all of that is happening right here in our office, and it's not me. So one of the fastest and easiest things to do is like, what do I have to do? What are the things that are that only I can do? And what things can I give away to someone else? I mean, a great example is, billionaires, right? They don't buy a sports team and then say, I'm going to go run that sports team. They buy a sports team and then they say, who am I going to get to manage that person so I can go to the NFL and win the Super Bowl or get the World Series? So why do we as entrepreneurs think that? It's ludicrous. And so one of the things that we do is we really, in a consult with our customers, we really focus on what's the most important work, what can you delegate, and what kind of systems and processes do we have to make in your business so that it's possible to hire virtual assistants.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I think that's true for everybody, but I'm a huge Cowboys fan. So the Dallas Cowboys, our owner loves to be everywhere and everything.
Watch out.
But no, you're so right. But you definitely know that the people that are the most successful, and however you define that, a lot of times are in their zone of genius. They understand exactly what that is. They understand exactly what they can do and have to do that nobody else can. They identify that, and everything else kind of falls by the wayside, and everybody else gets to not fall by the wayside, but it gets to be delegated so that everybody else can be in their zone of genius as well. And that's how you truly win. That's how you build these, phenomenal businesses that are really impacting the world.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we wrote a book, and we're going to give it away to your audience at the end. But in that book, we talk about the 7-figure business roadmap. And it's something that we've done. I needed something to help our salespeople understand the different levels of growing your business. So we've broken it up into 3. So it's the I do it, like brand new in business, learning your industry, in your whole world is just learning. How do I sell a client? How do I talk to people? What's my place in the marketplace? That's the I do it's. At some point you move to the we do it's, right? And the we do it's, it becomes all about systems and process, because now you have a team. All of a sudden, as an entrepreneur, you have to extract all that gold out of your brain. All that tribal knowledge has to be documented. And then you can hire somebody to help you do it just like you want it done. And so in the we do it, it's systems and process. In the they do it, it's who you have on the team and what the vision is and your core values. It's a different, in each level, it's a different game. And so we help entrepreneurs understand where they are in the fight, so to speak, right? To get over that $1 million hump. Right. And then what they need to do to really kind of grow and scale. And that's super fun for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of, touches on, definitely one of my favorite books that, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of, the E-Myth, and how important it is between what it is to really build and grow a business versus creating a job where you're doing all of the things and you're not really able to scale that. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call your secret sauce. And this could be for you personally or your business. What do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
Yeah, our business, one of our core values is that we're really a servant heart driven company, meaning when our customers come in or our virtual professionals, we call them virtual professionals, by the way. The market calls them virtual assistants, but we don't have assistants, we have professionals. So
I love
we
it.
hire really smart, talented people, and then we help businesses grow and scale. But one of the things that differentiates our business and really who I am is we're here to serve. It's how we start every conversation. It's why we exist in business, is to help businesses grow. And so it makes it really simple. It's all about the entrepreneur. It's all about the business owner, the CEO. What's their needs? What's in their world? And so I think that's really clean. We all have been on a sales call, right? Where the salesperson just starts blabbing and talking, doesn't ask you
Verbal
any
throwing.
questions. Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, dude, what are you doing? And so our world is really simple. We're here to help companies buy back time, grow and scale, maybe save costs. I mean, sometimes companies come to us and say, hey, we want a blended model where some people are in our office and in-house and some people are outsourced and virtual folks, and so we'll help them reduce costs. But typically we're focused on our clients' win. What would be a big win for your business? How would you double? What would it take for you to double or go win the World Series or
Mhm.
be in the Super Bowl? Like what would it take for that to happen? And then we work backwards and create a plan. And that's really the differentiator.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love that because it's one of the references I always make is that the 7 habits of highly effective people, and one of them is beginning with the end in mind. And if you know where you're going to be, then you kind of reverse engineer, as you kind of spoke to figure out how exactly you can get there. And I think so many times we're just sometimes kind of going through the day to day, not
Mm,
with that kind of North Star in front of us, so that we understand exactly where we want to go and how exactly we need to get there.
yep. Love it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
Yeah, we have a thing, and I'm gonna give this away because I think it's such a big deal. We have a thing called the Sticky Challenge,
Hmm.
and it's basically, as an entrepreneur, we get a ton of people call. I'm like, I don't know what I want to give up. I'm not sure what I can give up, and so one of the easiest things and fun actually for a team, whether you're a small, medium-sized business or large, is to have everybody grab a stack of stickies and then follow yourself around all day long, like all day long, right? And you're basically going to write, am I doing dollar productive stuff or non-dollar productive stuff? And you're going to write what discipline it's in. Like maybe it's admin work, maybe it's on social media work. I don't know what it is, but you're going to go, is this dollar productive? Am I helping drive revenue and create scale in the business? Or am I doing busy work, stuff that I probably shouldn't be focused on? And then you just follow yourself around for a week or two. And what's fun about this exercise is you will walk away knowing how much time you're actually focused on your customers, your internal employees to help them grow and scale versus all this busy work. We had a great client come through, and she ran a huge investment company in South America. And she's like, Daniel, I work 80 hours a week. She did it for 2 weeks in a row. She's like, I work 80 hours a week. And you know what? I only spend 15 of them on really client revenue driven
Exactly.
activities. And I'm like, well, what do you spend the rest of your time? And she goes, it's crazy, but I'm wasting a lot of time. And that's what this exercise is all about, is helping people understand where their time is spent within their business.
Mhm.
And then you can take those piles, because afterwards you want to put them in piles or on a whiteboard. And this is all admin stuff. This is all marketing stuff. This is marketing stuff, but I need to do it because it's important.
Right.
Like it drives revenue. So you put that at the top, and the non-dollar productive stuff. And then you can start crafting what we call like an outcome statement. I need a virtual assistant. I'm going to buy back 20 hours of my time. And this is the job that we're going to do. And this is what I'm going to give away to somebody else in my office. And this is what I'm going to have a virtual assistant do. So that's my favorite little hack. It's super fun with your team,
Yeah.
because they have a realization of how much time they're actually in the fight with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it paints that picture because, again, like I kind of talked about, so many times we're not realizing where our time is being spent and
Mm.
what it's being spent on. And I'm sure it can definitely be a stark reminder, especially if you haven't done it before, is when you take a look and you realize, just like you said, the executive, you're not maybe spending time driving and growing the business as much as you thought you were or hoped you would be. And it allows you kind of get that foundation so you can make those adjustments and changes from there.
Yeah, and it's all about, as an entrepreneur, I mean, we really grow and drive revenue to some plateau, and then we plateau, and then we keep doing what we did in the past to try to figure out how to get to the next stage. But a lot of times you got to just stop, analyze, take a hot second, and figure out, like, you know, who, you know, like the billionaire question, you know, like, hey, you'll love this question, and we do this with customers all the time. If I held a gun to your head and I said you had to double your business, like you have to in the next 12 or 24 months, you know, what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? And who do you need on your team in order to actually make that happen? And that question right there is so powerful. People get all kind of wrapped up in their own head, you know, but you start asking that question and it becomes really clear. My life's on the line. You know?
Right.
And so we've helped people, you know, realize, you know, I can get a virtual assistant to help me with, you know, my marketing, or, you know, I've got a great sales team, but I need more prospects. So we're going to start calling and prospecting for people. You know, you know, I'm doing 20% of my day is on email and scheduling and following up with people. That's an admin job. I need to hire somebody to help me with that. You know, we have a Midas, a franchisee of a Midas company. They have 12 different shops. Right. Turns out the CEO was actually getting Slack messages from all of his 12 different managers. And he did this sticky challenge that we're talking about. And turns out he was spending 3-4 hours a day responding to his managers at the 12 different locations. And I'm like, dude, let's get you off Slack, you know? And like, so we hired a virtual assistant. You know, he spent 6 months training him on all the operations, and he's off Slack, but it literally bought 3-4 hours of his day every single day. And here's a guy who's worth thousands of dollars an hour because he owns all of these different franchises. And if he can identify 2 more franchises, guess what his net worth goes up to? But you know what he was doing instead? He was on Slack. So, you know, and so anyways, that's what we do is we help people say, you know, enough is enough. I'm tired of plateauing, or conversely, like I'm growing like crazy and I need help. I need some time back. I want to see my wife. I want to go to the gym. I'd like to hold my kids before they go to bed, you know, like all those crazy things. That's what we help entrepreneurs do and CEOs.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I think that I love that, you know, so many times we forget like what or how we would even value our hourly time. And if we look at that and we say, okay, well, that's not a revenue generating thing, answering these questions on Slack, then we start to shift and we make those adjustments and get to where we need to be. So I love everything that you're able to do and help people do. And so I wanted to ask you now for what I call a CEO nugget. So this could be a word of wisdom or a piece of advice. It might be something, if you hopped into a time machine, you would tell yourself, or you might even tell a client as well too.
Yeah, I've got some nuggets, man. One of my favorites is, you know, when you're onboarding a new employee, so much of that is time intensive for the leadership team, for the CEO, you know, especially to make sure they're getting set up for success. And one of the hacks or one of the nuggets that we use here is we create something called play, pause, do. So every job is documented fully in paper, but we also have different people on the team demonstrate that job and then record their screen when they're demonstrating, whether it's a call, whether it's an admin job, a marketing job. So it's very clear what the role is and how to do the job. And once you've documented it and then you've put a video together of 3 to 5 examples of how to do the job, now somebody can sit in the corner, download, watch those videos, look at the document, and 2 or 3 days is saved in repetitive training. So play, pause, do. It's gold, man. It's a good little nugget.
Yeah, I definitely love that play, pause, do. And I think getting that documentation, and it kind of goes back to what we kind of been talking about, is how valuable that time is. Because if you have somebody that's already doing, why not document that and create kind of a video manual, so to speak, on those certain things. So then not only does it help out that new person, it also helps out the person after that, and so on and so forth, because you have it all documented.
It's also fun to look back at yourself like we have videos of 10 years,
really?
see of these, progression, you know, because
Yeah.
our methodology as we've grown up as a company, so serving 6,000 people, different businesses, marketing agencies, you know,
Mhm.
real estate companies, insurance companies. It's interesting the patterns that erupt. These patterns that are just this. It's business, you know. It's just.
Mhm.
I wish they would teach this thing in college. You know, I went to business school. I
Yeah.
got a degree in business, and I got out, and I was like, okay, now what? And I'm like, I thought I would
I
learn.
know
You know,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, you know, and so it's fun to go back and watch those old videos and go, oh, I remember that. I remember this. And now we think a little differently about it. But yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now I want to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Daniel, what does being a CEO mean to you?
A lot of service, man. We're serving others. I mean, and it's the highest calling as a human being. I mean, that's the and you can't get messed up in that world. So as a CEO, I'm in service of my employees, and you know, our virtual assistants are in service of their clients, and you know, our clients, you know, they're in service of their clients. I mean, like when you serve it, all the mess, all the stuff, all the ego that might get in there, all the bravado that might happen, it just melts away because when you realize that you're in service of others, you know, and it's the highest calling as a human being, that makes choices, decisions super clear.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a powerful kind of place to be. And as you said, I think there's such a great energy that comes from being truly of service. And you guys are at service to a tremendous degree, and to be able to kind of serve those many people and be able to help them to help others. And it creates such a great and I guess powerful ripple effect that we start to see in so many different ways.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm thinking about your audience and how we could serve them. I
Mhm.
want to give a couple quick tips about
Mhm.
hiring a virtual assistant.
Yeah,
Like, just
absolutely.
if you were thinking about it, these are the things that you want to have just in place real quick to make
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
work.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool too about that is if you're always asking yourself about how can I help others? How can I serve? It just makes it very clear about what your role is. When you're hiring a virtual assistant, you know, starting with the end in mind, knowing exactly, you'd said it
Mhm.
perfectly, you know, set that outcome up, set that job description up, make sure you have a communication platform. I mean, Slack's a great one. Asana, we use something called Glip,
Okay.
Facebook Teams, you know, Zoom. Have a place to, you know, to do virtual, you know, face-to-face conversations like you and I are having right now. Have a
Mhm.
place for chat, phone, email, text message. Just set them up for success. You know, get them into your system of communication. And then the next is have a task management platform. You know,
Mhm.
document how to do things, your videos, your all of your processes within your company, and just have that on like a Trello board or a Monday or you know Basecamp. And we use Monday and Basecamp here at MyOutDesk. So
Mhm.
Monday when it's just task based, and Basecamp when it's a project based thing. So
Right.
just have a place for them to get the reference documents that they need as well as know what the next steps are for their role.
Mhm.
And then virtual integration is such a big deal for somebody who's not physically in your office. I mean, think about it like this. Kellogg, you know, the cereal that your kids eat,
Right.
80% of their employees are outside of the US.
Ah, yeah.
80%.
Wow.
And you know their biggest market? The US. You know,
Mhm.
so they sell most of their cereal here in the US. They're, you know, they're based here in the US, and yet they have what we call a blended model where most of their people are out of the US. And that's all we're talking about here. So even these large corporations have been outsourcing for years. So you have this opportunity as a medium and a small business to really reduce your costs, save some time, and buy some stuff back, but you just want to integrate them right. So
Yeah.
make sure they're in the meetings, you know, the company meetings. Make sure you share within the mission core values. Make sure you go through an integration process just like you would a physical employee. And that's when you get that pure gold out of a virtual assistant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I truly appreciate you. Obviously, you have so much experience from being able to kind of break down, those different things that we can do to kind of be successful. And I think it's so important, if you understand, like we talked about, what success is, how you would define success. You see the Kellogg's of the world, those big billionaires and companies being able to do that. Why not implement that from day one or close to day one, and start to do that so as you scale and grow your business. So truly appreciate that, Daniel. Appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best we can get a hold of you, get a copy of the book, and find out about all those things you and your team are working on.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me today. It's been awesome to just be in your world and know all the impact that you're making. So I really appreciate you. If you're listening and you want to get a copy of our book, all you have to do, pull out your cell phone real quick. If you're driving, don't do this, okay? If you're driving, don't do this. But save it for later. But take your cell phone, go to your text message. In the message section, you're going to put SVP, so Scale with Virtual Professionals. SVP in the message, and then the phone number section 31996, and then you can get a Kindle version or a PDF version of the book. You'll also register, and at that point you can choose to have a consultation with us, and we can walk through what it would look like. And our website is another great resource, MyOutDesk.com. Everything's on there. Everything that we're talking about: sticky challenge, play, pause, do, how to build SOPs, like everything that we've talked about. We've created blog posts and guides for our customers because, if you do this right, you really can make a big impact in your world. You can buy some of your time back and hopefully grow and scale.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely appreciate that, Danny. We will have the links and information in the show notes, especially for those that are driving. Make sure that you're
Yeah.
paying attention to the show notes. And I love, obviously, blogs are near and dear to my heart. And I love how you also create so much content and information, not just here, but also on your site. So we'll also have a link to, a lot of those resources as well, too. But I appreciate you, my friend, for reminding us of how important time is and also how we can leverage that as much as possible. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yeah. Thank you, Gresh, for having me. Been a pleasure.